Today I'm going to show you how to factor, find the vertex of, and graph a quadratic function. And we are going to use this quadratic function for today's video, which is y equals x squared plus 8x plus 15. Okay, to factor this we are going to use the diamond method, which what you do is you make a little x type thing, and then on top you put your product of a and c. So your a and your c, which would be 1 times 15 equals 15. And then on your bottom you put b, which is just 8. So you have 8. And then you have to figure out what two numbers multiply to get 15 and add up to get 8. So if you think it'd be 5 and 3. Then you're going to break up the 8x into the 5x plus 3x. So then you have x squared plus 5x plus 3x plus 15. And then you would group the first two terms and the last two terms. And then you would factor out which like the greatest common factor of each factored pair or whatever. So you could factor out an x from here, so it would end up being x plus 5. You could factor out a 3 from this one, so you would have plus 3, and then you have another x plus 5. Since you have two x plus 5s, you could factor out x plus 5. So then you would be left with the x plus 3 and another x plus 5. And now we are going to graph the quadratic function. So what you do, you go to your graphing calculator, go to y equals, and you would put it in as x squared plus 8x plus 15. And you'd press graph, and it would look like this. And this would be and your vertex point you would look for would be a minimum point, because your a is positive and your parabola is open at the top. So your lowest point is your minimum, and that's what you will call your vertex. To find your vertex, like I said, it's a minimum. So you'd second trace, then minimum. It says left bound, so you would go a little bit to the left of where you think your vertex is. And it says right bound. You go to a little bit to the right of where you think it is, and then it says guess. So you would go to where you think it is, and you would get -4 and -1. So our vertex is -4, -1. It's a minimum. And then what you're going to do is you're going to find the x-intercepts. Really, you don't have to find them, because if you look at your factors, your x-intercepts are always the opposite of what your factors would be. So we have +3 and +5. Well, our x-factors, or our x-intercepts, will be -3 and -5, because it is the opposite of what you have in your factors. And now what we're going to do is we're going to look at the graph. So we found our vertex, -4, -1. We have our x-intercepts, and now we have this line down the middle called the axis of symmetry. Your axis of symmetry is basically the x-coordinate of your vertex. It is where the parabola is the exact same on both sides. So if you were to reflect it or fold it in half, then your parabola would match up, or these two parts would match up. They would be exactly the same. And that is how you factor, graph, and find the vertex of a quadratic function.